Welcome to today's lesson.
Thank you for having me.
Today we will be going through a topic of interpersonal skills.
Okay.
So I've provided you with that highlighter,
Yeah.
just in case there's any words that we come across that you don't recognise.
Okay.
So if you do find a word that you don't recognise, simply highlight it, and at the end of the lesson we'll go back and we can discuss that if you'd like. Okay, so we just start. The first thing I'd like to show you is a little video.
Okay.
Communication involves both verbal or spoken and nonverbal or unspoken ways of making sure our message is heard. When communicating nonverbally with others, we often use facial expressions, which are subtle signals of the larger communication process. A simple smile can indicate our approval of a message, while a scowl might signal displeasure or disagreement. Understanding facial expressions and their meaning is an important part of communication. Communication involves two or more people exchanging verbal and nonverbal cues to reach a point of shared understanding. The communication process involves both a sender, who is sending a message, and a receiver, who is hearing and or seeing the message. This process can be complicated by many factors, such as parties who are trying to communicate while speaking different languages. Additionally, we both send and receive messages through personal screens, like experience, faith, values, cultural background, gender, and education, which can make it more difficult to understand one another. Often, these screens lead us to make assumptions about the message being communicated. We also might make assumptions by observing, analyzing, and assigning meaning to the facial expressions of others. In today's business world, much of our communication takes place via electronic.
Okay, I know why that actually stopped. Okay. Alright, so that's the end of that video. Stop slightly short. Okay, so I'm going to read through this for you, and if you'd like to just follow in your handout.
Yeah.
So, as I said, the topic today is interpersonal skills. So working in an organisation involves interacting with other people. I'm sure you understand that working within any industry, you do need to involve yourself in conversation with your boss, your fellow employees, and even other people, so customers, or I know you're in childcare, so you definitely have to interact with the kids. So it's important to show good interpersonal skills. Interpersonal skills cover, as the video showed, verbal and non-verbal communication. Whilst the contents in the message might be fairly straightforward, the intent of the meaning of the message can be misinterpreted if used poorly. Poor verbal and non-verbal communication techniques. For example, the sentence, "Please make me a cup of coffee," can be interpreted in a positive or a negative way, depending on how it's actually said. It is likely that you employ many of these actions without even realizing. It just comes naturally to some people. Thinking about it too much, sometimes you tend to overact or actually make it worse. So when you think about other people's body language, you're trying to study them, sometimes you end up throwing body language that you don't actually intend to. So that's why they say don't overthink it. A lot of people, it just comes naturally. I'll just go to my next slide. So some of these techniques of verbal communication skills, and you see in your handout there, I've got a couple of examples. We have a clear message. Explain why you are saying what you are saying to the person that you're trying to say it to. And sometimes it's easier to not use more words than necessary and confuse the point. Now, a couple of examples there that we'll go through today is I've got two identical sentences and you can see in the handout at the highlighted word. So if someone says to me, please make me a cup of coffee, and they're emphasising on the me, and that could be interpreted as, I'm the only one in the room, can you make me a cup of coffee? I don't really care if anyone else doesn't have a cup of coffee, but it's my turn.
Yeah.
As opposed to saying, please make me a cup of coffee, which could be misinterpreted. I don't know, it could be misinterpreted, but interpreted in a completely different way. Now I'll put another example in there, knowing that I was talking to you today, and it is, oh wow, you got McDonald's. As opposed to, oh wow, you got McDonald's? You can see how that can be really carried into completely different circumstances, can't you? So that's why the emphasising on a key word in a sentence that you're talking to someone, especially like a boss, like, where's my pay? Or, where's my pay? Like, they are two different examples of using an emphasis on a word, but also the language that you're using. We also want, when we're talking to someone, have a nice, smooth sentence. Otherwise, it can be not misinterpreted, but just difficult for someone to understand. As in the example there, it's, hi there, how can I help you today? Which is a nice flow sentence. As opposed to, you can see all the commas there. So that would read like, hi there, how can I help you today? It's a completely different sentence. And you can understand why the difference between flowing that sentence nicely and not could really be confusing to someone who has no idea why they're talking to you. Now also about, as the video showed, about facial expressions. This is called a non-verbal communication skill. So your face conveys your emotions and can tell a lot about how you're feeling. Smiling implies you're happy, and frowning implies you're not. So we want to see lots of smiles. Smiling will actually make other people happy as well, and make the conversation and sentence flow better. So direct eye contact is always important. I see what you're doing. And it shows confidence. But the other thing is, sometimes in some cultures, direct eye contact can be taken as a threatening manner. So it's quite weird. So it's really about feeling out what the other person's feedback with their eye contact is. As you see, we've got good eye contact, and neither of us feel threatened. Well, I hope you don't feel threatened. But in some cultures, it could be taken completely the wrong way. So not enough eye contact can imply that you're shy or disinterested, meaning you don't really care what the person's got to say. And too much can make them feel a little bit threatened. So it's important to consider the context of the conversation before making an assumption about what eye contact can be implied. And that's what I was saying about cultural differences, males to females, whether you're talking to, someone telling you off at work, or you're trying to tell someone off at work and you don't have eye contact with them. With the kids, you want them to look at you so they understand that you're talking directly to them, as opposed to them just going, yes miss, I'm sure I'll never do that again. So you can see there that he waits till he makes eye contact. This means Jack's ready to listen. Posture is another very important non-verbal communication skill. How you physically sit and stand during a conversation can tell a lot about how you engage in that conversation. Slouching implies that you're not really interested, and I'm not meaning slouching like this because we've already got good eye contact, but slouching and not really caring about what's going on in the situation. Your hands on your head can imply that you're feeling superior, and a comparison, you're making a comparison of yourself over other individuals. Sitting up straight and facing the other person, speaking speaking demonstrates that you're interested and engaged in the conversation. Now I've put a link there which has quite a few examples of people in a folded arm situation, but in 8 different body languages.
Yeah.
Was a little bit confusing to put it up in the handout, so that's why I didn't do it today. Okay, we've gone through that. Now we're going to do a little exercise.
Okay.
Not this exercise, a little word exercise.
Okay.
So because there's only 2 of us here today, we're gonna do a little role play.
Alright.
So if you would like to, with the exercise is in pairs, which we are obviously. Have one person begin speaking and the other person demonstrate a negative verbal and non-verbal behaviour clues. So we're going to do this for about a minute, and we'll go from there. So if you want to tell me about your day, and I'll act disinterested.
Okay. So I had school today, and I did hospitality first.
Yeah.
And then we had to clean the kitchen, and then I had lunch, and I had pizza for lunch. And
Pizza,
then,
right? Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds right.
And then I had art, and I finished my assessment. I had art,
Okay.
and then I finished my assessment and handed that in, and then I had lunch again, and then I had roll call, and then I had ag, and I put the chickens away and the ducks away and the goats, but these other people came in and did the cow class.
So that's not a very fun thing, is it?
No.
Okay, now I'll tell you about my day, and you have a go at being completely disinterested.
Okay.
So Nikki, I did this thing today where I took a tyre off and it bounced and hit me in the head, and I got concussion. Yeah.
What?
I got concussion.
Oh.
And so I had to go to the hospital, and they took 3 of my ribs out.
Yep.
And then when I got back from the hospital,
You were at the hospital?
I turned water into wine.
Why were you at the hospital?
Concussion, I'm pretty sure I just told you that.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Sure.
So then I got home and I turned water into wine and I had a sandwich.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have 1 North Crosses.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So as you can see, so we don't have a group to discuss, but we're going to discuss how it felt to be ignored. And how did you feel to be ignored?
Annoyed.
Annoyed?
Yeah.
And what was the clues? What was the most annoying thing?
How you are like, you weren't making eye contact, and you were you were always looking like down here, doing whatever I don't know what you're doing, but it was just annoying that you weren't like
in the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so how did it? And then when we switch roles, how did it make you feel to completely ignore someone while they're talking?
Rude. I didn't like it. I loved how I won, but I just didn't like it. No.
Okay, great. So we don't really have a class to share our feelings with, but overall you could say it's quite annoying having someone completely ignore you when you've definitely got something purposeful to say.
Yeah.
And I guess if you want to tell someone about your day and they've asked about it and then they don't want to hear about it, it's really annoying.
Yeah.
And yes, I would absolutely agree with you that purposely having to ignore someone is quite an odd feeling. So you can understand how in a general conversation with anyone that is interested in what you've got to say, they would appreciate you listening to them as well.
Yeah.
All right, great. That's about it for today.
Okay.
Thanks for coming in. Oh, was there anything, any questions you had that as we ran through there?
Well, my one question was about the crossed arm things. I always cross my arms when I talk to people because it's comfy. But would other people find that like disengaged or?
Well, it really depends. If you're standing up or you're sitting down, if you are are engaged in the conversation.
Yeah.
So if you are engaged in the conversation, it is a little bit. It's saying I'm closed in and I'm not really. I'm still in the conversation, but they don't know whether you're going to be happy, sad, mad, disinterested. As a all-rounder body language goes, generally it would be I'm closed up to this situation.
Okay.
But if you've got full eye contact and you're engaged in the conversation, there's no reason that you can't have your arms crossed.
Okay.
You see in the example, if I can pull it up quickly, I'm not really sure that I can. No, I can't. There you go. How'd you do that? No, this is a different one, sorry.
That's okay.
But you can, there we go. So, yeah, there you go. So that's 8 examples of people with crossed arms that are not overly. So there's your defensive one.
Yeah.
So if you're standing up, like this guy's happy and he's got his arms crossed, it doesn't mean he's doing the wrong. Like there's no wrong or right thing, but body language, non-verbal communication, as in body language in this situation, always conveys a message. Now that person that you're talking to may not understand it's conveying a message, or maybe they could misinterpret the arms crossed. If they feel like, okay, this person isn't really. It's like if you're sitting here like this with your legs crossed away from me, but you still, your body's sort of aiming over here, so you are taking yourself out of the conversation.
Yeah.
It might be something you might work on in the future when you're talking to other people.
Yeah.
You didn't have any problem following the literature today?
No, it was good.
Oh, excellent. All right. Well, thanks for coming in, and I hope to see you again sometime.
Thank you.
Bye.